On Wednesday evening, Republicans in the Senate released a summary of what is actually in their health care plan that's been drafted behind closed doors. The Democrats have not gotten their hands on it. Many Republicans have actually not even been invited to look over the language of this legislation. Only a few Republicans and some health insurance industry lobbyists have been able to actually see what's in the bill. But according to this summary, which unfortunately is all we have to go on right now, here are all of the horrible things that this Republican health care plan is going to do to this country. First and foremost, it's going to make even deeper cuts to Medicaid than the House version of the bill. Now, while it's going to slightly delay those cuts, once they do go into effect, they're going to be far deeper than what the House version actually originally called for. And keep in mind, it was these Medicaid cuts in the House version that the CBO said would result in 14 million people losing their health insurance coverage because they simply would not be able to afford it without that Medicaid funding. Another thing that happens here is that it's going to make it's going to follow the same Obamacare subsidy model, basically allowing the federal government to pay or give tax incentives, tax credits for people who cannot afford their health insurance coverage. Unfortunately, the Obamacare model covered people up to 400% of the poverty level. Senate version is only going to cover 350% of the poverty line. One of the biggest things that this piece of legislation is going to do, and this is one of the most disgusting, is that it's going to lower your health insurance premiums. How? By allowing insurance companies to cover less. Right now, under the Affordable Care Act, there are provisions that say that health insurance companies have to cover a certain amount. Policy plans have to cover certain things. Not anymore. Not under the Senate version. We're going to take that list of things that are covered, cut it in about half, and guess what, folks? Your premiums are going to be lowered, and isn't that what you all wanted? Yeah, your plan's not going to cover a damn thing, but you'll be paying less for it, so I guess that's something. Oh, and also, it's going to change how much of whatever's left on that list of things that are covered. It's going to change how much the insurance company actually has to pay of that. Under the Affordable Care Act, it's about 75% that the insurance company has to pay, 25% covered by the patient. Under the Senate version, health insurance companies only have to cover 58% of the very few things that they will cover. And the other 42% going to be out of pocket for the patient. So while your premiums might drop slightly, your out-of-pocket expenses are going to increase exponentially. They're almost going to double. So this Republican Senate health care plan is actually going to result in you paying more money, even though they're touting it as something that's going to save you money. And of course, the biggest thing, the one way in which this Senate legislation is identical to the House legislation, is that it is a massive tax giveaway to everyone in this country making more than $200,000 a year. By repealing the tax requirements for the wealthy to help pay for some of these subsidies, pay for the Medicaid expansion, they're going to do away with those, cut health care for the poor, give all that money back to the wealthy. And there you have it. That's what we know so far about the Senate version of the American Health Care Act. And if it's any consolation, we do have a few Republicans in the Senate out there saying, I'm not voting for this piece of crap till I at least have a chance to read it. It's unlikely that they're going to find anything that they don't like because, after all, they're Republicans. But at least there is a glimmer of hope in the near future before we all lose our health insurance coverage to greedy Republicans who just want to give a tax break to the wealthy. If you like this video, make sure that you like, comment, and share, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to help support Ring of Fire, go to patreon.com/TheRingOfFire, become a monthly patron to help support independent progressive media.